This is with an assumption of 20 dials per hour. What could we do to increase the number of dials we make per hour? Triple line dialer. Perfect. What else? And you don't even need a triple line. You just need a dialer. Guess what? This thing, this like follow-up boss thing up here, there's a dialer built in. And like we paid for you. Like you don't have to pay for it. It's included. Like you could just load your segment and just hit a button and it's just going to start calling people for you. Like you want to increase the number of dials that you make in a day, use a damn dialer that's built in. If you really want to make a big commitment, invest in RedX, invest in Mojo. Now you could have 2 lines ringing simultaneously, 3 lines ringing simultaneously. We're about to set these guys up with some crazy shit that rings 10 people simultaneously. Like, if you want to increase your dials per hour, think about using a dialer. What else could you do to increase your dials per hour? So said hyper focused. What else? Power hour. Use some scripts to get through the conversation faster. What else? Yeah, I mean, being in a place where you can have conversations with multiple people at one time, like maybe standing at a booth at the Aztecs game where like 50 people come up to you in a period of a few hours. Maybe it's doing an open house where, oh, well, you know what? My open house sucked. Only 5 people came through my open house. Oh, really? Wait, let's do this math. You had 5 contacts that came through your open house. Those aren't dials, those are contacts. You had 5 people come through your open house. Okay. Is there anybody in here who has any problem doing 8 open houses for $10,000? Is there anyone who has an issue with that? Because do the math on that. 8 open houses. So that means every time you do an open house, it's worth $1,250. Every time you do an open house. If I told you I'm going to pay you $1,250 to do an open house, would that change things? Probably would, right? Because that's effectively what's happening. But that's assuming only 5 people come through. If you follow the plan, you're going to have more than that. What are a couple other ways you can increase your dials per hour? Yes, preach. Silence your phone. Put your phone on do not disturb. Block out everything. We literally set that wing of the office up. If you just need to buckle down, you don't want any distractions or anybody around you, just go in there and just crush your calls for a couple hours. Put a headset on and just go. Another one that I wrote down is less research. Statistically, at best, and this is the number that I think is maybe aggressive, it's probably lower, 80% of the people you call are not going to answer. But what you're doing is you're spending like 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you make every single phone call. To 80% of the time have wasted all of that time. You're a fucking salesperson. Just get on the phone and sell. You could literally tell me to sell trash cans. I'll figure it out on the fly. Like, you got to just figure it out. But how do you figure it out is you know what to say. And we'll dive into that here in a minute. JC, you had something? JC said, keep them brief. Yeah, we don't need everybody's life story on a first conversation, especially like Zillow, right? They've made it very clear. Their data, which they track this, says don't go deep on the first phone call. Just ALM them, give them what they want, then call them back, and then go deeper with them on the second phone call. Yeah, go for it.
To keep the dials up, if you're prospecting and somebody asks you to like send them something, or like you're adding a club and you want to make them a new key, like you send this in there or something, do it when you're done with the prospecting section rather than stopping your dialer and sending that over. Yeah, so I'll recap that since I didn't throw on the mic. So if any of you guys took test prep for your real estate test, one of the things they teach you is just get in a rhythm and just answer. If there's any question that stumps you, or it's like a math problem or anything, you don't know the answer within the first 5 seconds, just write the number to that question on the side and come back to it later. Don't get out of your rhythm. Just answer as many questions as you can that you know in rhythm. You'll be a lot better off, because as soon as you stop and divert your attention over here, it's really hard to get back on track. Same thing when you're doing this. If you tell somebody like, okay, great, I'll send that information over. Tell them, hey, I'll send that information over in about an hour. I'll send that information over. I have an appointment. As soon as I finish up, I'll send that over. You don't have to send them something the second that you hang up. As long as you set the proper expectation that you'll send it, and you send it when you say you're going to send it. Schedule 30 minutes of prospecting. Yes, this is schedule 30 minutes of prospecting cleanup after. I love that.
The last one I wrote down, I want to make sure we stay on track, is some of you guys have an assistant. Like use an assistant to have you prepped so that you can go into these calls and your list is loaded. You know who you're calling, you know why you're calling them. You have all of that stuff set. If you have an assistant, one of the best things you do is that notepad where you wrote down all the things you're going to do. You literally just hand it over to them and they make sure all that shit happens. Or the last real estate coach that I had, he literally had his wife sitting right next to him while we were on the calls and she was taking the notes so he could stay focused on the call. You could even do that. You could literally have your VA that's just piped into your calls, listening, taking notes for you so you could just stay focused on the conversation. Because I know some of you actually struggle to take notes and to have conversation. Because I've listened to some of the calls. I've literally heard you ask a question. You're like, okay, so yeah, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 16, like that is not a great phone call. Whether you're saying it out loud as you're writing it or not, they can hear you writing it. And that's not a great phone call. You're losing the rhythm of the conversation. So you could have an assistant help you out with that. Like some of you guys that have VAs are like, what do I use them for? Have them sit on the phone while you prospect. You'd be amazed at what could happen when you do that.